My word for 2023 was growth, specifically business growth. And I had outlined some numbers that I wanted to reach. Firstly, I started this YouTube channel, which now has over 650 subscribers. Can you believe it? So if you are subscribed to this channel, thank you so much. And if you are not subscribed, which about 96% of people who watched my last couple of videos are not. So if you are one of them, please consider subscribing if you are enjoying this channel. So yes, I did grow to about 650 odd subscribers on my YouTube. And then there's another number that I was tracking, which people generally can't see, which is the number of people subscribed to my email list. And this number grew to over 1,000 in the last year, which I am super stoked about. And if you are not on that list, I will leave a link down below with which you can join the list. However, this is not a backward-looking episode, so I don't want to talk too much about 2023. What I intend to talk about is 2024, how I will take stock of my personal finance situation in 2024, and what my word for 2024 will be. Spoiler alert, you will notice that I don't talk about investment strategies at all in this episode. I will be talking about things that I believe are more important than investment strategies. The first one is about money, math, and mindset. In the last episode that I posted, some of you were commenting on how money is a difficult math game that is rigged against you. And other people were commenting on how mindset is so much more important. What I have observed is that money is more about mindset than about math. Math is important, don't get me wrong, but if you keep telling yourself that you are not good at math and therefore you can't win the game of money, frankly, you won't, because your mind is actually giving you an excuse that you are not good at math and therefore you can't be good at money. That there are tons of people who are good at math, but they are not good at money. There are also a lot of people who are not good at abstract maths, but they are good at managing their money. Here's a story I would love to share with you from my childhood. I never really used to like math. In fact, I used to think of careers that would not really need math to progress. However, my cousin brother, shout out to him, he told me that liking math is not optional. You have to like math. If you have to do well in life and if you have to get the higher paying jobs, you don't have an option but to like math and to like STEM subjects. And naive me believed him. And from the next day onwards, I said, okay, gone are the days that I did not like maths. I like maths today onwards. And I started liking maths. And I started telling myself that I really love maths, to the point where I became one of the go-to people in my class who would solve all maths problems. What I'm telling you is that as a society, we are brainwashed into thinking that maths is hard, numbers are hard, you can't like numbers. But the reality is that if you really want to like numbers, you will. If you think liking numbers are to your advantage, make yourself like numbers. If you think that even that is hard, get some personal finance advice. There are a lot of regulated personal finance advisors out there who can help you with the math. So it is really about your mindset. You might think that it's odd for me to talk about mindset and how I will take stock of my mindset in the next year, because my previous episode was titled How I Made My First 100K. So obviously I have worked on my mindset first to get to the first 100K. Sure, yes, I have. But what I have also observed is that every new level that you get at gives you a different level of challenge. So yes, I have gotten so much better at investing my money. However, what I realized over the last year is that I have been resisting spending money on things that would make my business grow. For example, I have been obsessed about ROI and profit. And my business degrees, my experience in business, and my experience in starting businesses before has obviously led me to believe that ROI and profits are important. They are important. But when you are starting out a new business, especially for a new business, you cannot be obsessed about ROI and profits for the first few years. You have to have the risk appetite to consume a loss as well. You have to have the appetite to walk out of the business if it doesn't work. And what I have been resisting is investing in the business to be able to grow it to the level of ROI and profit that I would like. So obsessing too much about ROI and profits at the early stage of a new business has been something that has kept me stuck in the last year. And this is definitely something that I want to work on in 2024. And therefore, I am going to work on my mindset as a business owner as well. So that's the first thing I'm working on. The second thing is about following your passion and monetizing your passion. The internet is full of influencers talking about how they followed their passions and became this huge influencer, and now how they get to live their dream life. That's great. If it works for them, great. However, for most of us, it does not work. Following and monetizing my passion is frankly not something that I want to do. That's what the last year taught me. Sure, I've gotten a lot out of recording these videos for YouTube, but if you really asked me if that's my passion, it's not. This is something that I want to do for two reasons. One is I want to talk about the hard facts of personal finance, the things that people gloss over because they are less sexy, less glamorous than talking about monetizing your passion. And secondly, because a YouTube channel is an asset for my business. And I want to do the hard thing for my business rather than pretending that this is how I'm monetizing my passion. Of course, talking about money is a passion of mine because I am an expert in the field of money, because I have gotten a few degrees in economics, because I have worked within the financial services industry across the globe for over 10 years, because I have advised to numerous Fortune 500 companies and banks out there. That is why it has become one of my passions to talk about finance and money and businesses. But recording these videos for YouTube is definitely not my passion. So here's what I am telling you, that all of the influencers out there who are telling you that monetizing your passion is how you will make money are probably not telling the complete truth, because your passion, firstly, let's be honest, most of us don't even know what our passion is. And secondly, you don't know that if you followed something that interests you, you would be any good at it. So this is what Cal Newport says in his book called Don't Follow Your Passion. And I am a huge fan of that book. I love Cal's work, and I read a very interesting book last year called Drive by Daniel Pink. And in that book, Pink says that most things that you do for money ultimately don't remain your passion anymore. And I have heard that to be true for several friends of mine, several students of mine. What they thought was fun once upon a time, as soon as they started making money on the back of it, that did not seem like their passion anymore. And they were already searching for the next thing, which is their passion. Of course, your passion evolves, your hobbies evolve as you grow older, as you mature through life. However, monetizing your passion and thinking that you will be this one-dimensional person who likes fashion or money advice or art for all your life, and you monetize that for all your life, is probably not going to cut it. You will probably fall out of love with fashion or art eventually once you have learned everything about it. However, what will carry you on is your expertise in that field. When you realize that other people don't know what you know is when you can be of value to someone else. And when you are providing valuable advice, expert advice to someone else based on your expertise, not on your passion, is when you start making money. And I have seen this to be true in my previous businesses. When I was providing career advice after having become this career expert by knowing how to write my CV, how to go about a job search, or people were paying me money for business advice because I had done it for so many years, is when I was making money. If you have watched this channel for some time, you will know that I am into perfumes and smells and incense sticks. Believe it or not, no one will come to me to buy my advice for incense sticks because that is not what sells. That is just not what people out there value, or at least my audience values. So if I suddenly start a business about which incense sticks should you buy, I probably won't have a very big audience. So instead of monetizing my passion for smells, I decided to monetize my expertise in personal finance. And this is what I want to stay true to. I do not want to tell myself that I'm following my passion. I want to tell myself that I'm following my expertise. And this is what I would love for you to do as well, because in 2024, the market is more competitive than ever, online and offline. So the more you tune into your expertise, the more money you are going to make. The next thing I am doing in 2024 is creating time for intentional creative breaks. This is tied to mindset a bit because we are brought up to believe that the harder we work, the more successful we'll become. However, I have always been quite a creative person, and the one reason I can say that I am creative is because I was very good at taking breaks and lazing around, and I'm air quoting because I never really lazed around. I was just letting things process in my own little head before it fleshed up into something concrete that I could put to paper. And funnily enough, Adam Grant has talked about this very phenomenon in one of his very popular TED Talks, where he talks about why creative people take a lot more time and they seem to be procrastinating, but actually they are not procrastinating. They are mulling things over, and at the last moment, they will come in and put something amazingly creative at the end of it. I am a big fan of processes because it helps me to work with my team better. But as a creative person, I have realized that I was not giving myself enough creative breaks. And that is something that I want to do a lot more of in the next year. I want to get a lot more of Netflix into my schedule so that I am leaving room for inspiration and creativity. The next one is about planning. And this is something that I am really good at in my day job, but I don't really like to plan as much within my own life and business. I love this room for spontaneity. And what I realized is that last year, because of the lack of a plan, I had some very ambitious numbers, but there was no plan of how I'll get to those numbers. And then there was this mindset of not spending money on the things that I wanted to achieve. Therefore, I pretty much did not achieve the numbers that I set for myself, which is really sobering to accept. So my word for 2024 is that I will plan better. And this is why I am hosting a free planning workshop for 2024. All of you corporate people out there, I know you are excellent at planning within your day jobs. You probably are, however, not planning your careers and the rest of your life. So if you are someone who wants a bit more planning in their life, on the 7th of January, I'm hosting this free planning workshop. I will leave a link down below in the description box where you can sign up for it, and let's come and plan together. It's completely free. I'll do this with you, and very likely we'll probably do a quarterly plan and a half-yearly plan rather than a full-blown annual plan, because we might find that by the half-year mark, our life has evolved substantially. Our numbers, or what we are calling to be our success metric, have changed. We want to be adaptable to all of that, and we want to replan at the half-year mark. So this is the reason my word for 2024 is plan. And if it inspires you, come join me in the planning session, link down below. And if that's not your word for 2024, drop a comment below. Let me know. I love going through your comments. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do consider subscribing, because it does help out the channel a lot and does motivate me to create these episodes for you going forward. And if you do sign up for the planning workshop, I'll see you live in a few days. And if you enjoyed this, you might enjoy something like this or this, and I'll see you the next time. Bye.